Want to come say hi? Hey, everybody. Jill here at the Pet Beastro. Jaleela's standing over here, trying to get over here to say hi. Hi. We are here with another fun Saturday Night Live coming at you. I hope you guys were all able to get outside and enjoy the nice weather. If you're joining us tonight, just give me a quick hello. Let us know you're here. Jaleela's kind of on the back end manning Facebook, so if there's any questions, make sure you put it in the comments below. We will make sure we answer them. Daylight savings time, I feel like, has got us all a little off this week. How are you guys feeling? Or your pets? So what do? We sprung ahead. So I bet your pets probably had you up extra early all week. I know. How are your dogs? Were your dogs? No?
Nothing really.
I know I felt like I was off all week. Maybe
a few days.
Cats were good. Didn't really see much from the cats, but
I just like that it's light outside now.
yes, lighter later. It always helps for like the evening walks and things that we have going on. All right. Hey guys, it looks like we have Kat, Michelle, Cindy, and Jennifer and Lisa joining us. Welcome. I'm glad you guys are here tonight. Hopefully you're maybe sitting outside. I haven't been outside lately, so I don't know what the temperature's like. I don't know if it's misdeceiving from the sunshine, but I know tomorrow and Monday are supposed to be really nice, and I'm looking forward to that. All right, so tonight we're just going to run through some quick tips for poison prevention. Tomorrow starts Poison Prevention Week, and just making sure, giving you guys some tips and tricks and what to have on hand and how to be prepared if, God forbid, something happens that you need those things and those tools at your house. Oh, good. We got some other folks joining. Misty, Janet, and Andrea. Hello. I'm glad you guys are here tonight. Thank you. If you guys wouldn't mind, anyone who's watching, if you wouldn't mind doing a quick share and letting your friends know about us, we'd really appreciate it. Let them know that every Saturday night, not every Saturday night,
mostly
90% of the Saturday nights we are here live. We will be taking a break on Saturday before Easter. We are closed Easter Sunday as well here at the store. But for the most part, Saturday nights we are here, and Daleela and I have some fun things planned for the upcoming months. We'll have another fun box announced towards the end of April, and then we have some other fun ones planned throughout the summer months. So Daleela and I have some shopping to do. We need to get some products and put these really fun boxes together for you guys to participate, and I think they're themed, so I think they'll be needed at certain times throughout the summer months. All right. Have any of you guys had an emergency? Have you guys dealt with any sort of poison issue, whether that is your dog or cat ingesting it, or maybe they got into something but actually didn't eat it, but you thought they did? Chemicals in the house that you've decided to throw out and do something different because of a scare. If any of you guys have had any of those situations, put it in the comments. I just want to see, it's one of those things we've all had different, even personally myself, I've had issues with both my cats and dogs that are kind of like once in a lifetime things, right? You don't ever expect it to happen. When it does happen, you don't ever expect it to happen a second time. But they do happen, and it is better to be prepared if you can be, rather than being in the moment, living in the chaos and trying to think clearly when thinking clearly isn't your best game plan at that point. So a couple things to go over here. I think now that we are rounding the corner and just a few weeks away from Easter, one of the most common items that can be poisonous in your house are the dreaded Easter lilies to our cat friends. There are several plants that are actually poisonous to cats. And for whatever reason, I don't know, I can't explain it, but cats seem to be attracted to them. I personally have had a cat have a little munch on a daffodil, which we had several days of not wanting to eat and puking and lethargy. So we had to do some remedies and some sub-Q fluids and things like that to get them back feeling better. There's lots of other household plants that can also be really deadly to cats, or at least cause a lot of those lethargic type behaviors. I can't have plants in my house, even if I have it in a back bedroom, in a window where the door is shut. It's that one time that you forget to shut the door and they're in there destroying it, or eating it, or digging in the dirt, or whatever it might be. We have come to the conclusion that we can't have plants in our house, or even cut flowers. I actually don't even put cut flowers in my house. More or less because I have naughty cats. So there's some cut flowers that are not poisonous to kitties, but my cats would knock the vase over or break the glass, if it's a glass vase. My cats are climbers, so Bengals are known to be vertical jumpers, and they like wall space and things like that. So we just avoid plants altogether. There are also some plants that can be poisonous and harmful to dogs as well. There's a full list online. So if you just do a quick Google search of, plants that are poisonous to cats and dogs, you will get a full list of those options and what to avoid in your home if that's a concern. There's some cats and dogs that could care less about them. So, if you have cats and dogs that don't bother plants, could care less about plants, you might have put your plants in a safe space. So if you need to, you can close the door. But there's are animals who don't care about them. Not my house. All right, before we move on here, it looks like we got a lot of comments coming in. You want to read a couple of them here, Dalila?
So let's see. Andrea said that Maisie got into a dryer sheet. Jennifer Weeks
goodness,
had her dog eat a large amount of cooking oil. Shannon Hints, dog unwrapped a Hershey Kiss and ate it about an hour before a scheduled vet appointment. We were told to watch her, but thankfully had no issues. Devon had a Tide Pod scare.
Oh boy.
And then Teresa said that years ago a roommate's dog ate an entire basket of chocolate, Easter basket full of chocolate.
Yeah, Easter seems to be like the holiday. Maybe Poison Prevention Week was put together because of the upcoming Easter holiday with the Easter baskets. Even going a step further than that, like the confetti fun that we put in the bottom of Easter baskets, a lot of times those are like plastic tinsely strands. Those can cause bowel obstructions or get tied up, and then you're having a gastrotomy, which is basically opening the stomach or the intestines, more or less the stomach, and pulling out the contents that are in there, which that is never fun. I've been through that as well. There's a lot of household things that sometimes you just don't think about it until you have a naughty animal, and it's almost like they point it out. Every time you turn around, they're like, hey, what about this cabinet? Hey, what about this item? Hey, did you think about this thing over here that I pay attention to? So there's sometimes that it's almost like your animal points those things out for you, and then you have to make adjustments. Which Devon said the Tide Pod scare, and was it Andrea, the dryer sheet? So there's some things in our home. I always tell people to once a year do a quick assessment. Like, what is around your home? Both the garage, if you have a shed out back, like if you're out in the back and you're working in the yard and you have the shed open and your dog's out there, is there something in there that they could get to or lick up? Or if the oil can was spilled or something like that, is there something that they could get into while your back is turned? Under the sink are cleaners. A lot of times our conventional cleaners are chemicals. And, if you can, or if you're comfortable with it, I always suggest a plant-based cleaner. There's lots of fantastic companies out there now, like 7th Generation and EOS. And is it EOS? EOS? There's like a laundry. They do laundry. Method. Yeah, there's Method. There's a lot of all natural cleaners that are plant derived. So they aren't harmful. The other item that is in your home that may not happen or may not cause issues immediately, but your plugins, so your fragrances, your false fragrances, your perfumes, those are all chemically derived as well, to cover up smell or scent. So your Febrezes, your Glade plugins. Those things are actually pretty harmful and over time can cause a toxicity issue as they build up in the system. So that's what I'm saying. Like if you came home and you plugged something in, you might not notice an effect right away, but you might in the future, or it might creep up on you and your pet might be acting different. Just recently, I was helping a friend who has several cats, and she works with a breeder. And there was a cat that was specific that went to a home, and it was returned because of pica. So pica is eating objects that your cat or dog shouldn't be eating. And cats typically don't have pica. We see that more in dogs where they're eating like rocks or bark or, socks or like inedible things that they shouldn't be eating. And within 7 to 10 days, she got the cat home. She switched its diet. And the home that it came from they had several Glade plugins. So we were wondering if maybe there was a toxicity issue that once the cat was removed, the cat started feeling better and didn't feel like it needed to satiate itself with things that it shouldn't be eating. Hair ties for kitties. I know that sounds crazy. Not that it's a poison, but it will cause a bowel obstruction, and cats love to play with hair ties. So we leave them out, and on occasion they end up eating one or several, and then that can cause issues. So check under your sinks, look in your garage, kind of do like a thorough examination. Sometimes over the winter months, it's cold in our garages, so we don't clean up after ourselves, or something got knocked around and spilled. I know this sounds crazy too, but even like parking lots or parks, if you take your dog out for a walk, pay attention to like what's in the parking lot. Cars do leak, and they leak antifreeze, they'll leak oil. So if you see like an oil spot, avoid that. Go around it as much as you can to avoid your dog's paws walking through it, or even the chance of them doing like a flyby lick, because there's dogs that do that too. They're super quick about putting their nose right to the ground and getting right in there where they shouldn't. So antifreeze is pretty deadly. If you have that in your garage, just make sure that is in a cabinet or cupboard or somewhere secured that your dog can't get into it. Check under the sinks. If there's a cleaning product that you just haven't used in a while, maybe it's time to toss it even. Just get it out of the house, donate it. If there's a shelter or something like that needs cleaning products, if it's unopened. But by shelter, I mean like a women's shelter or a human shelter that takes extra things. Just so it's not in your home, so you don't have that chance. So check that out. The next one on my list is, depending on where you live, there are some areas around here that are having issues with rats. And some of the cities, most of the cities, I believe, put bait out. So you want to be careful with that. Just in case you end up with a dead rat in your yard, or if you're out on a walk and you come across one. My concern is, did it eat rat poison? And again, if we have a rat that is dead and your dog grabs it, or you send your dog out into the, your fenced in yard and don't realize the rat's out there and they eat it, obviously the rodent side, then your dog is ingesting, which also is toxic and poisonous. And that can cause problems. I know there's tons of construction around here right now, which is displacing a lot of the rats, which means they're coming out looking for food. They're foraging in backyards and things of that nature. So make sure you pick up your dog poop in your backyard. Try and take away any areas that might have a little oasis for the rodents in your backyard. You want to try and eliminate that to keep them out. Same thing with like garbage. Keep your garbage covered. But I have had a couple customers that have dealt with the rat poisoning. And again, this is an emergency. Depending on how soon you can get to the clinic, that can sometimes determine how quickly things evolve. It's never fun. It's kind of scary. I will agree to that. But for the most part, there's several of our customers that have had good outcomes because they've caught it pretty quickly, and they're diligent caregivers to their pets. So they're paying attention to what's going on. So just keep that in mind. It's getting warmer. we have more construction. You might see some rats and things like that in your neighborhood that, of course, we don't want to deal with. They're not fun, but they're fun to chase, and they can be squeaky toys. So pay attention. And then, of course, our list of foods. So sometimes we have foods that are toxic, and they might not be toxic to us, but they could be toxic to our pets. So things that we want to pay attention to, alcohol, dough. So if you have like pizza dough, uncooked pizza dough, there's raisins, there's grapes, there's xylitol. That's a little bit newer. So xylitol is actually not harmful to humans, but it can be deadly to dogs. So we find xylitol in toothpaste, peanut butter, chewing gum. So it's actually used as a sweetener. And that's where sometimes we can get confused because they're putting it in peanut butter to act as a sweetener because most people have a sweet tooth, but it can be really deadly to our dogs. So same thing with toothpaste. I actually just the other day was helping a customer, and they're like, oh, we could just use our people toothpaste. And I'm like, hold on. I don't want you to go home and make a mistake or have something that puts your dog into the ER. So you want to make sure that you're getting xylitol-free, even pet-friendly options for brushing your dog's teeth, peanut butter for their Kong, any type of sweetener. You got to pay attention to that. I know sometimes we also become ingredient readers, but you have to be because we want to make sure that it's not harming your pet either. Let's see here. I have a website that had a nice long list of. There we go. So chocolate. I know, who was it that had the chocolate, the Hershey Kiss? Was it Shannon that had the Hershey Kiss chocolate incident?
A few people did. So Teresa did.
Oh, yeah. She had the Easter bunny.
Shannon had a Hershey Kiss incident. And then Cindy said, my dog ate 2 6-ounce chocolate bunnies.
Those chocolate bunnies. Oh, my goodness. They're getting everybody.
Yeah, I think that was it. So
okay.
3 of them.
So the chocolate, guys, chocolate is, milk chocolate typically isn't going to be harmful. Now, what can be harmful is if your dog is eating the chocolate with the wrapper, that could possibly cause an issue. The chocolate with the wrapper definitely causes problems. It's the dark baking chocolate that typically is more of a concern. So usually your milk chocolates cause a lot of stomach upset, maybe some diarrhea, your dog not feeling too well. We definitely suggest monitoring them, keeping an eye on it to see how they're doing, to see if it needs to be an emergency trip. It's usually the dark baking chocolate that's going to cause more of an issue. So you're like 60, 70% cacao. That's pay attention to that. Let's see here. I have a whole list. So chocolate, raisins, xylitol, some of your prescription medications. So make sure those are locked up or put in a cabinet or a closet, with the door handle.
Christine said, my daughter accidentally left her ADD meds out on the counter. Our cat ate it.
Yeah. So, medications, cats love to play with those little pills and capsules because they're easy to bat around and they go flying, and that becomes a toy. But we never want them to actually eat that. So I actually have a cat who opens cabinets. So if I were to have medication in my house, it would need to be in a top cabinet that I know he can't open, or I actually have the turnstile doorknobs. If I had a lever style, he could probably open those as well. So if you have a lever style doorknob on a closet and one of your cats could get in there, that might be of concern too. Just got to pay attention. There's the kid-proof locks or the cabinet locks that you could put on a cabinet if you're concerned. But yes, definitely prescription medications, your Tylenols, your over-the-counter medications, those could be harmful. Or if they get into a bottle of Benadryl or something like that and eat too many of them, medication should be given in small amounts, not large quantities. So that could definitely cause a problem. Some of your outdoor items, again, your different poisons that people use for snails, ants, insects. Those could be problematic. Acorns, believe it or not, acorns could actually cause problems. So if you have a dog that it has pica or likes eating things like acorns, that could cause a problem. Spring bulbs, so daffodils, tulips. If you have a digger in the backyard and they're digging things up, that could be a problem. Laundry detergents, oven cleaners, bleach. You know, you would think that some of that's common sense, but I'm telling you, sometimes our dogs are like toddlers. You turn around and they're into something. You just got to be careful. Some of the recommendations I have is, A, make sure you know where your closest emergency clinic is. I would also program their phone number into your phone. I would also program the animal poison control phone number into your phone, because they may be able to help you immediately if by chance the clinic is backed up or things are going on. I also recommend, if it is an emergency, like your dog ate possibly a rat poison or something of that nature, I would call the emergency clinic and say, I am on my way. This is what I think happened. You know, give them, they might ask for a description of your car or whatever, because they usually want to get prepared and be ready for when you come in to take that emergency right away. Sometimes the emergency clinics over the weekends aren't always used for emergencies. So if they know what's coming in and kind of know what to do to prepare, that can be really helpful for those folks. If you don't have an emergency clinic, you know, ask us next time you stop in. We have some recommendations. I personally have had some really good experiences at the emergency animal clinic. Is it AEC? We looked that up. It's the one in downtown Rochester. It's on 2nd Street. I personally have had some really good experiences there. But there's Blue Pearls locally. There's Wilson's out in Romeo. So there's some other clinics that have done great job. And
Animal Emergency Center. Right?
Animal Emergency Center. I always get those first two words mixed up. But everyone has had different experiences. Sometimes it depends on their busyness and the staff that's working or the stress that they're under. So those all can make a difference in interactions and how your experience went. But personally, I've been to Animal Emergency Center a couple times and have dealt with 2 or 3 of their veterinarians on staff and have had a pretty great experience. Right. So, and in addition to that, we have a couple supplements that we recommend having on hand. One of my favorites is the activated charcoal. And these are literally charcoal powder. So these capsules, let me see if I put them in the white here, if you can see them. These capsules are, they are black. They are just charcoal. And these are great at actually binding to any toxins that are within the digestive system and pulling them out. So toxins, instead of getting ingested through the cellular level, if we can take this and pull it out of the body, that would be great. It might be something that needs to be used even after the fact. So if your dog did get into something, or a cat, and then you ended up at the emergency clinic, and they either did surgery or made your dog vomit and gave them fluids, you might still want to follow up with the activated charcoal. So this is the old packaging, activated charcoal, new packaging. I always love having these on hand. I will tell you, if you give these to your dog, they will have a very dark colored stool. So it's kind of expected when you're giving your dog super dark black charcoal. You could give this to kitties as well. It might be a little bit more effort, but you could definitely give this to cats as well. People take it. It's great for diarrhea issues. So maybe your dog or cat did get into something, you've been to the clinic, and they just milk chocolate. This is a great reason to use activated charcoal. Those Easter bunnies, those chocolate Easter bunnies, you might need to have some of this on hand. This is really great at helping clear up a lot of the diarrhea, the stomach, the sensitivities and things like that after your dog has got into the Easter bunny chocolate.
Teresa asked, are they given based on weight?
Charcoal can be given based on weight, but they're not harmful. You're not going to use it long term. It's going to be, you know, maybe up to a week. And if you're in an acute situation where your dog did get into something, I would say more is better than less when it comes to giving your dog charcoal. My next favorite item to have on hand is the hydrated bentonite clay. So this is bentonite clay, and bentonite clay is really awesome. Also, it grabs onto the toxins and removes it out of the body with stool. So bentonite clay we use for several different reasons. My favorite is, though, for any type of ingested toxin. I have a customer whose dog actually, she was walking with the owner and her nose was to the ground and the owner stepped on a puffball mushroom and the dog's nose was like right in the mushroom and a lot of those fungus spores went into the dog's airway. And she was having quite a few problems, went through some different medications, nothing really cleared it up. We did a bottle of bentonite clay and that actually grabbed onto all those fungus and mold spores and pulled it out, and she was doing excellent afterwards. So another different way to use bentonite clay. We use it also for detoxification from vaccinations. So if there is a reaction from a vaccine, bentonite clay can be really helpful for that. Cats are pretty easy with the hydrated bentonite clay. For lack of description, it kind of tastes like an almond milk. So it doesn't have a bad taste or bad flavor per se. But, you know, we are bombarded with environmental toxins quite frequently, especially now that we're getting into springtime. We have fertilizers being sprayed on our yard, which are going airborne, which your pets are ingesting, your dogs, especially if you're on a walk. So bentonite clay could be something that you could maybe do once a week, every month, just to help clear out any toxins that might be hanging out that you're not familiar with. Homeopathic phosphorus. I don't have, you want to go get my remedy kit real quick?
Which one?
You can grab any of them. Maybe the green 12C kit. I think that's on top. So homeopathic remedies can be really awesome and help during maybe like transport to a vet clinic or a veterinarian's office, depending on the emergency. So homeopathic phosphorus is great because it actually helps stop hemorrhaging. And if your dog has got into rat poison or something that's going to cause hemorrhaging, that could be pretty serious and can be serious quickly. So homeopathic phosphorus can be, the other thing I love about it is the homeopathic pellets that I use are about the size of a poppy seed, and they can actually just be tucked right up on the gum line. So once it touches a mucous membrane, it's been activated. You can also mix it with water and do a drop on the gum line. So you're actually putting a liquid there. So the homeopathic pellets come, they start out as pellets, and then we can mix them either to a wet dose if that is easier, which I tend to find that can be easier with kitties. So I actually have here, I'm going to kind of do a quick show here. So this is one of my homeopathic kits, and this has 100 different remedies in it. And homeopathic phosphorus is the one that I recommend having on hand as a backup. If you are interested, we can definitely make you a dose. The homeopathic remedies here at the Pet Beastro are $5. So we can make a dose, or it comes in a half-ounce bottle, the wet dose. And it is good forever. So you can have it for an emergency. You can have it for yourself for an emergency. So these are human remedies that we use with cats and dogs. I love the fact that you can have phosphorus on hand and you can use it as often as you need to in an acute situation. So if you're on your way to the emergency clinic, if you have somebody with you driving, you could actually be dosing your dog every few minutes, as quickly as every 30 seconds, as far out as every 5 minutes, as you're on your way to the clinic, and then they can do the work that they need to do when you get there. It might be enough to save your dog if it's a situation where your dog is literally hemorrhaging. So homeopathic phosphorus.
Bernadette asked, is it good to use charcoal every once in a while like people do cleanses?
Ooh, let me circle back around to that question.
Okay.
All right, and then GastroCare. So this is a Chinese blend from Dr. Basant, who is the owner and creator of Herbsmith. And I love GastroCare because it goes in and it, after, like if you were to have surgery or, if there was an incident where you had a dog that had a lot of puking, this goes in and actually just kind of settles the inflammation within the intestinal system. We recommend a good 90 days of GastroCare. So 30 days starts the healing process, but 90 days really helps solidify the healing process. I use this with our Savannah cat, Rin, after we had a gastrotomy because the naughty cat ate some things, inedible things in our home that he found that I have no idea, of course, where they came from. It was just downstairs and he found them when he was bored, I guess. And then he ate a string off a cat toy, and that kind of sealed the deal because it wrapped everything in his gut, so he couldn't pass it. We had to have surgery. So we went back in with some GastroCare just to really help heal the gut and with all the trauma and the inflammation that happened from the surgery. So anytime there's, opening of the gut or the stomach, the intestines, the small intestines, the large intestines, you really want to make sure that you can really support that and make it healthy going forward. So I hope that helps. I'm sure you guys are all now scouring your garage and under your sink and seeing what you could do to change up your house and make it more safe. My last suggestion also is a milk thistle. So anything ingested. So medications, anything, food, medications, good things, bad things, anything that's ingested. The liver also has a hand in processing it. So we always want to make sure that we go in and we support the liver. Milk thistle does a great job. It's a mild detoxer. It's not a detoxification where you're going to see diarrhea or other not so fun things with your dog, but it's going to support the liver. It's going to help cleanse the liver and get it back balanced and working appropriately. So the liver, did you guys know the liver has over 5,000 functions? The liver is important to love and nourish and take care of. Isn't that crazy? 5,000 functions and hormones? What? I know. Every time I read that, I'm like, that's just crazy. How can one organ have that many jobs? But it does. Perfect. Okay, so we had a question. You said Bernadette had a question for us.
Yes. She said, is it good to use charcoal every once in a while like people do with cleansers?
Okay, so Bernadette's question is about cleansing and using charcoal every once in a while. I personally would probably not use charcoal that way. I would probably lean more towards the bentonite clay in that way. I feel like if you use charcoal too much too often, it can actually start stripping away minerals where you don't really get that with the bentonite clay. So that's, I can see where your thought process is, but I would lean more towards the bentonite for like a monthly cleansing. Hope that helps. Teresa says that she uses milk thistle every day for Emma to protect her liver from her kidney medications. That's another great way to use milk thistle. I know Emma is a little bit older of a greyhound, so our older dogs tend to sometimes have organs that need support. So good job on that, Teresa. Oh, it looks like Jennifer has been out to Wilson's. That's their emergency clinic out in Romeo, and she said that she has had a great experience out there. We had a dog who ate a finger puppet. Oh my God. Yeah, that would probably be an emergency. Usually it takes a day or two for you to figure out what's missing. I've had, even my own dog, I've had a dog that was a sock eater, which is never a fun journey. Sometimes they barf it up. Most of the time, the other half of the time, it gets stuck in the intestines and it's a bowel obstruction and you're doing emergency surgery because that can be deadly to dogs. What it does is it makes the intestines necrotic, which means they're dying. The intestines are dying, so they have to remove that portion and It's kind of like people, they do that with people too, where there's, whether there's bacteria or diverticulitis, things like that. If it's pretty severe, they'll remove a portion of the intestines and put them together. So we still have some more time with our pets.
Andrew said they took Maisie to Animal Emergency Center in Rochester over the summer for her attack, and they were wonderful.
Okay, so we have somebody else who's used Animal Emergency Center and said that they did a great job. Looks like Christine says that there was, looks like her dog might have got into something and it was expensive and scary. It can be. You know what? The other thing that I would always have on hand, I didn't pull it, a flower remedy or distress remedy, which is, so this is Nature's Sunshine version of Rescue Remedy. A lot of us are familiar with Rescue Remedy. This one actually combines Rescue Remedy, the 5 flowers plus North American flowers. So it's a little bit more beefed up than just Rescue Remedy. Sometimes I feel like we need a little bit of this and our dog needs a little bit of this, because in that moment, it's like you're trying to process everything, all the data that's coming at you. Like, what did your dog eat? Where have they been? If your dog's vomiting, now you're on cleanup duty, and there's just a lot of things that are happening all at once. And the distress remedy is great for situational anxiety. So it actually helps more or less with it. Well, it does only help with emotions. So it's dealing with the chaos and allowing you to be able to focus on what's happening and think clearly. We all handle stress differently, whether you're a fight or flight or freeze kind of person. All of our adrenals function differently. Some of us go into that, what do we got to do mode when somebody's on the phone and they're getting ready, and the other person's still kind of I don't want anything to do with it. I see blood and I'm going to pass out. And then we have the freeze, which is just staring blankly because it's overwhelming to them and they don't know how to process what's happening and function. So distress remedy is both human and pet friendly. You can, like I said, take a little bit of this for yourself. You can, again, dose the distress remedy every 30 to 60 seconds in that acute situation until you feel like you've got some clarity on what is happening around you and how to process those things. So I'm all about having some of this on board, and it might help even afterwards. Sometimes when we go through those traumas, that trauma can really trigger different things in us or even our pets or even other members of the household, whether that's other humans or other animals. And sometimes the distress remedy can be really helpful afterwards. CBD oil can be helpful afterwards. So after you get home, if there's inflammation, pain from maybe a surgery that happened, those are all great after post-surgery care items. But sometimes we need to process what happened as well, and making sure that we're prepared. So I'm telling you, the more prepared you can be by putting storing phone numbers in your phone, knowing the area and how long it takes you to get to an emergency clinic, possibly having somebody else to help you, whether it's another family member or a neighbor. If you have a really big dog and they're on your floor and lethargic, do you have a backup plan on how to get them into your car? Once you get to the clinic, there's clinic members and team members there that can help you get your dog into the pet hospital. But do you have a backup plan on how to get your dog, from your house into your car? These are all things that I don't think that we all always think about. Because of course we sometimes don't prepare for that, but the more prepared you can be, I'm telling you, you can be ready, and it might be a matter of saving your pet's life at that point. So think about those things. Maybe do a quick drill. If we had to pack up and we had to leave, do we have the things that we need? Are we, do you have your dog's maybe a photo of your pet's medical record on your phone, or the last vet visit and their age, their weight, things like that. I know it sounds simple right now, not in the moment of having an emergency, but in the moment of an emergency, it's great to have all those things kind of on the ready. Deb says, I need distress remedy for me. I'm telling you, it's very helpful. Jennifer says that they have an emergency kit for when they go up north in the camper. Yes, that's fantastic. Going up north, I mean, anywhere you go and you're going to stay, just do a quick Google search. I think it'll really help you figure out what you need to have. Awesome. Do we have any other questions that I missed?
Nope, I think we got them all.
All right. So what a fun night. I know poison prevention is maybe not fun, but I think there's some things that we can have on hand and at home that keeps us a little bit more prepared. And the more prepared we are, the better we are at helping our pets when or if the emergency happens. So tomorrow starts Poison Prevention Week. So you might see we have some more information coming out through our e-newsletter this week, our email newsletter, as well as we'll have some information on right here on our Facebook page if you're watching us on our social media. If you guys have any other questions or you're catching the replay later, feel free to put it in the comments, and Delilah and I will read the comments here over the next couple days and circle back around if there's anything that we need to answer. Do you remember what next week is?
Flea and tick.
Next week is a good topic. Flea and tick. So be prepared. We will have some options about flea and tick next Saturday. That's March 27th. We'll talk about conventional options versus natural options and how they differ, how one maybe you have a preference to what you use and maybe why. So next week will be a fun topic, I'm sure, because it's all those little creepy crawly things that none of us like to talk about because they're kind of gross. But perfect. I hope everyone has a great weekend. Enjoy your Sunday tomorrow. It is supposed to be nice. Get outside with your dog, put your cat on a leash, take them outside, enjoy the sunshine, and we'll see you guys for another Saturday Night Live next week. Bye.